Hello, this is Myra Elaine on the By in Space channel. I have come to a point of completion in the book of Psalms. I haven't read the entire book, but people might not know that the book of Psalms is divided into 5 books. The first book of Psalms is Psalm 1 through 41. The second book of Psalms is Psalms 42 to 72. The third book of Psalms is Psalms 73 to 89, and I just completed to chapter 89. Now, the first 2 books are more about David and David's rise to power, and it starts off with songs and psalms of the creation and gives an introduction to the entire book. And when in Psalms book 3 that I just completed, it's more about the exile and talking about God turning his back on the Hebrews and them having psalms and prayers about, where are you, God? Please help us, God. And I just completed that book. I'm getting ready to start 4, which is Psalms 90 to 106. And these psalms start to be more instructive and looking more to the future. And then Psalms 5 is Psalm 107 to 150. So there are 150 books in the book of Psalms. And the Psalms in the front, the first 2 books, are mainly written by David. But David, in addition to king, he was also a teacher of music and poetry. And he taught the Levites, some of the Levites, how to write these psalms. And they are, see, these don't say the Psalm of David in front of them anymore. In book 4, this is a prayer of Moses, the man of God. So maybe this was something that was written that Moses had said or prayed or sung, or a poem he liked to recite, or a poem that was recited about Moses. And when we read Psalm 90, we'll find that out. I haven't studied ahead at this point to book 4, other than knowing in general that the books start getting lighter and more praise and less of wailing and gnashing of teeth that we've had in the third book of Psalms. So, this will be more joyful time in the readings and more hopeful for the future. But I will say that the book of Psalms has been called a literary temple because it goes through the timeline of the Israelis, of the Hebrews, and what they went through. And the entire book talks about the coming king. We have David, the establishing king. I mean, we had Saul before him, but David was the anointed one, and his line, not Saul's line, continued with the kings and genealogy to the Messiah. And the entire book talks about the coming Son of Man, the coming seed, even back in the first section of this tremendously long and literary book of songs and poems to God. And it's just wonderful. But I want to say to any of my Jewish friends that are watching this, I urge you to read Psalms, and I urge you to read Revelations. I know it's in the New Testament, but it was written by a Jew, John, and he foretold the end times. And I have a question for you. All of those revelations, in Revelation, you can see that the Euphrates River is dried up. You can see a lot of what's in Revelation is coming true. Now, why would the Messiah come at the end of days? He wouldn't. If you read Revelations, he's coming back during those end times. So he would have already have been here. And just something for you to think about. I know that Jews can be socially ostracized for even talking about Jesus or entertaining the idea that Jesus is Messiah. There are many Messianic Jews out there that have accepted Jesus Christ. But if you're still not a Messianic Jew, if you still haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, I want you to think about it. I want you to read the Old Testament prophets and look at the life of Jesus and how he fulfilled all those foretellings in the Old Testament, in the Torah, and these other wonderful books that were penned, through God, but by your people. Do you think they're all wrong? And do we even know where the line of David is today? There might be millions that are of the line of David today. But we know for sure that Joseph, the stepfather of Jesus, was of the line of David. Just saying. Much love to all my Abrahamic brothers and sisters, Jews and Christians and Muslims alike. We are all of Abraham, even those of us that are Gentiles and not of the bloodline. I am a Christian. I consider myself a child of Abraham. Jesus picked up a stone and he said, I could make this stone a child of Abraham. What did he mean by that? I think we know. So I hope that you will think about accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior and the Messiah that was foretold from the beginning, or even before the beginning of the line of David. Have a wonderful and blessed day, everyone.